Hey, what's up guys? It's Foster, and today we're working on my Honda S2000. Now there's only one more event left of the season I've been doing this year with GridLife's Club TR, and right now I'm sitting in 10th place, which isn't too bad, but I'm really close in points to the guys ahead of me a couple places up, so I'm hoping for this last event I can add some parts to the car and get it to go a little bit faster. So I've got some Megan Racing upper control arms here. That's going to give us a little bit more camber adjustment. I've also got some new bump stops, and hopefully I can give this car a wash as well since it's absolutely filthy. Before we get started, I'm going to show you what I got for upper control arms for the S2000, and I'll talk a little bit about why I went specifically with these Megan Racing ones. Okay, so as you can see, these are the Megan Racing upper control arms for the S2000. There's a couple reasons why I wanted these ones specifically for the car. The main reason is the fact that these have got adjustable camber, and right now at the moment I'm maxed out at about -2.8 degrees, which isn't quite enough for what the S2000 needs. So by installing these aftermarket upper control arms, I'm gonna be able to get a lot more camber than that. As you can see, they're slotted right here, so I could potentially run up to about 4 degrees, but I think for what the car needs at the moment, I wanna aim for about -3.5. Another reason why I like these upper control arms is the fact that they come with spherical bushings. And so eventually I'm gonna try and get rid of all the rubber bushings in the S2000, but right now it's a good start to put some spherical bushings in the upper control arms. It should make the steering feel a lot more direct. All right, I got the wheels off the S2000, and unfortunately I found a bad surprise. Both the rotors on my C43 big brake kit are cracked. This is bad news because I don't think they make these rotors anymore, and they've gotten really hard to find and expensive, so I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of replacement before the next track day. We're gonna start by removing this stock upper control arm. First thing I'm gonna do is remove this ABS sensor that's attached to it and get it out of the way. And I'm also gonna zip tie that ABS line out of the way so it doesn't get caught on anything. Now we can unload the upper control arm bushings using a 17mm shallow socket. You wanna take a little bit of tension off there before you try and remove your ball joint. Using a needle nose plier, remove the cotter pin from the castle nut, and then you can remove the castle nut as well. Looks like there's just enough room for me to sneak an impact gun on this castle nut, so go ahead and remove that. Unfortunately, I don't have the ball joint separator tool that I would normally use to remove this upper control arm, so I'm gonna try whacking the knuckle with a hammer. Hopefully that breaks it loose. Nope, that's it, I quit. I'm gonna go get the tool. So to be honest, I wasn't feeling great about separating the ball joint by whacking the knuckle, so I went to AutoZone and I rented this ball joint separator, and hopefully this makes our lives a whole lot easier. Now I'm gonna remove these two 17mm bolts, and we can remove this stock control arm. Now that the upper control arm's done, we can remove the coilover. much as I love the S2000, I have to admit that the rear suspension design is a total pain in the ass to get to. You have to crawl between the seats and then get underneath the fuel filler to get the two nuts that hold the rear strut in on the driver's side. Passenger side's a little bit better, but overall this is not my favorite part of this project. I'm stuck! So it is the next day, and the plan is to get my progressive bump stops put in the coilovers, as well as install those upper control arms. Then I'll get everything buttoned back together, and I can finally take the car to the alignment shop. So let's talk for a minute about why I want to upgrade the bump stops in my coilovers. This white one here is the field bump stop that comes with my suspension, and this blue one here is the Penske bump stop. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a full Penske racing coilover setup just by putting these bump stops in there, but one thing that these do really well is they're progressive. So the issues I've had with S2000 is when I hit a curb really hard and I bottom out the suspension and it hits the stock bump stops, it causes the car to bounce across the track in a pretty unpredictable way. I'm hoping by switching to these progressive bump stops that the car will be a lot easier to drive and a lot easier to manage when it does bottom out the suspension. Plus, I figure why not? It's not that expensive to buy new bump stops, and I might as well give this a try before I think about either rebuilding or upgrading my coilovers. All right, we got the rear suspension installed. We've also got the front coilovers installed. As you can see, now we're finally ready to install our new upper control arms. I'm gonna start by getting the bolts in the upper mounting points of these upper control arms. Now I can install the knuckle. You wanna pull your cotter pin out and remove your castle nut. Then it should just slide right into place. I'm just gonna blast it with impact just to seat the ball joint, and then I'll use a torque wrench. Now I can tighten down the castle nut. I'm gonna use an impact at first to seat the ball joint, and then I'm gonna use a torque wrench and torque it to 51 foot-pounds. One thing I wish these Megan control arms had is a bracket for your brake line as well as your ABS sensor. Unfortunately, they don't, so I'm just gonna use a zip tie to hold it in place. Down the road, I might try and make a fancy bracket or something like that, but for now, a zip ties are gonna be fine. Same thing with the ABS sensor. Use a couple zip ties to secure it to the upper control arm. The last step is to torque down the bolts that are supporting the upper control arm to the chassis, and the torque spec for these is 76 foot-pounds. Damn! Oh my God! Look at all that camber! Check this out, you guys. I went full stance nation on the S2000. But obviously the upper control arms do work. They add a lot of camber adjustment. Just for an experiment, I did max them out before we put them on the car, and I wanted to see how far they could go. And obviously it's quite a bit. I'd say probably like -8 degrees, I'm not sure, but it's gonna be good news. That means we're gonna be able to get the proper track alignment we want. And speaking of track, I'm really excited to see how those bump stops do out on the track as well. So I think we made some good progress tonight with some of the mods that we did. If you guys like this S2000 content, don't forget to give me a like and hit that subscribe button, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos on this S2000 this winter, getting it ready for next year's time attack season. And so you're not gonna wanna miss out on any of those mods. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.